So I just had a thought. I hope this is going to work out. This is the only room in the house where the fan is not controlled by a switch. As you guys saw earlier, I was up in the attic. The wire goes somewhere. I mean, it looks original. It's not that somebody put this fan in later and hardwired it in or anything like that. It's all under the insulation, stock boxes, all that kind of good stuff. So I'm not going to go chasing around wire in the attic. Now, one of these outlets, one of these switches, and I can't remember which off the top of my head, I think it's the one on the right, controls half of the outlet behind this cabinet, which I have one of my VR sensors plugged into. So this never shuts off. The other one doesn't do anything. I guess I can, see, I don't want to toggle one because if I do that and it shuts off my VR sensor, then I have to cycle it through Steam VR and get it to resync. I've got it where if I turn off the app after I'm done, it automatically stands down both the sensors. So as long as they're synced up and everything, you just leave power to it and it's all automatic. But it's really annoying when the power actually cycles and you have to go through it and come back out. Anyway, I want to pull these switches out and see how they're wired. Here's my thought. I'm hoping all someone did is bypass the fan switch. I'm hoping the wiring is here for the fan and they're just pigtailed together. That would make sense. I mean, that would do what it's doing. It would always have power and it's just controlled by its remote control. I want to put it back through the switch, if that's the case. Conversely, I want to do the opposite with the, well, now I guess I have to figure out which one it is. So let's do that first. Let's see. Nope, still a power. So it's the left one that's going to my outlet, the right one that I want to be the switch. I'm hoping this is just disconnected. If so, I'm going to reconnect this, and I would like to bridge this so that outlet is just a normal powered outlet. Let's take a look. By the way, I just want to give you guys a little tip here. I've gotten a ton of comments from people that say that I've given them ideas and they've had inspiration for things they want to do in their own home, and a lot of questions and comments like, how do you have the energy to keep doing this? How have you done this for 40 whatever days, for so many hours in a day, and bang through your stuff? And here's one big part of it. You guys watching, or simply just the fact that I'm making a video about it and having a plan. It's being able to talk to myself about it without feeling too crazy because I'm talking to a camera. It doesn't matter if there's one person watching or 10,000 people watching. Just the fact that I have kind of a purpose of making a video about it gets me moving and gets me motivated and gets me through the project and on to the next one to see what else I can do, etc. It doesn't matter if it's to inspire people, answer questions, help people, or just entertain. Just the fact that I'm doing it as a video is a big motivator. So that's my tip. If you're finding it hard, and totally honest here, the last couple days, because things are pretty much done around here, I'm just picking and choosing little things to change or touch up. There's nothing major left. I've essentially been done with the house renovation for days now. And I've been taking it easy. I'm getting back into my production schedule and I'm resting and I'm finally sleeping a little bit more, and I don't have to get up at the crack of dawn and work until 9, 10 at night. It's done. So I don't have this motivation to be up at 6 o'clock doing this and out at Lowe's as soon as they open and bang and on to the next thing. I'm just taking it easy. I'm doing things when I want to. But I picked up the camera right now to do this. I wasn't going to do this today. And now I am, just because I'm making a video. So that's my tip. If you're finding it a little hard to find the motivation, make a video. This is all you have to do. You pick up your phone and you talk. You think things through, or even just do it and then film after you did it and tell people about it. That's it. That's as simple as it is. All right, now, big disclaimer. Should be obvious. I'm not an electrician. I know the basics, but I don't know the complicated theory. So what I have found using my tester and just a little trial and error, number one, I see that this big black loop right in the center there, that is not original wiring. I know this for a couple of reasons. Number one, because it's not painted. What happened was when they built the house, they put in all the wiring and then they spray paint the house. And that's why you've got all the paint gunk all over all the wires and caps and bundles and all that kind of good stuff. This one is clean. It's also stranded. It's not solid wire. And they've got it screwed on there. All the original wiring is using the press-in connectors. So these two wires are original. This is how it would have originally looked. So somebody added this jumper wire. It's going into the bundle of the house hots. The red are the loads. This one on the left here goes to half of an outlet. And this is the one where we don't know what it's doing. The switch itself does nothing. As far as I can tell, it's not changing anything in the room. Unless I missed one of the outlets. We already know that either they didn't put them in upside down for the switched ones or somebody flipped them back around later. Now it's possible I missed one when I tested, but I don't have any that are flipped. And that one over there is the one controlled by this left switch. So I mean, it's possible that I simply missed one and this is controlling another outlet for some reason. But I don't know why this jumper is here, what it's actually doing. I'm trying to think through just looking at what it's doing. So that load, see, here's the other thing. They didn't wire the house what I would call standard. And I'm only saying that because some of these circuits, the three-ways, for example, are wired differently from one another in the same house. So I think they're just using these conduits and, you know, doing whatever they need to do without any care for the colors. So this stock black one, which would be a stock house load, is coming into this upper right conduit. And that's also where the load is coming to. So that conduit is going to a single device, possibly the fan up top. Now, the switch is physically working. Right now, this red does not read any flow. So that means only those two house loads are getting current. Because that jumper is there from the main line, the house line, it is energizing this black going into the conduit. Now, I don't know if this red not energized makes a difference or not. I don't know how the other end is wired. I don't know where it's going. But this jumper's there for some reason. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do is disconnect it and see what happens. All right, I disconnected power, disconnected that line, turned the power back on. Lo and behold, no fan. No power at all. Doesn't work from the remote, switch on or off. This switch now has absolutely no power in either switch position. This has house current flowing through it. I turn this one off just because I don't need to complicate things. Just have the house current. The switch still works. That's controlling the outlet and my other VR sensor. I just have to think about this a little more logically. So this is just a bridge coming in from the house load, which means this isn't doing anything. This is just a dead wire going somewhere. Or is it the load line? And this one doesn't make any difference. I don't know, I gotta think about it. Okay, here's my theory. They've got the fan wired up directly to a hot and neutral. And by bridging the constant house into the hot down here, it's just connecting the fan directly. And this load line is disconnected at the other end. So I think all I need to do is snip off this load, just in case, and screw this onto the top terminal of the switch. That'll be at least proof of concept. If the switch then controls the fan, I can put in a fan smart switch here and control my office fan. Let's see. Okay, test number 2. Switch is in the off position. Let's see if we have any power. No. Okay. Switch is in the on position. Oh, look at that. Didn't even have to hit the remote. It's nice because this fan works with the remote via radio frequency and it remembers the last setting. So if you kill power, it saves where you were, both light and fan speed. Well, that worked. Okay, so I guess off to Lowe's. I do have that one dimmer. I'm going to exchange that for a strict fan switch, get a couple bucks back, put that in here. I'll just wire these two together, so this switch will be a dead switch because I don't want that outlet to turn off. And boom, I will have smart control finally of my office fan. That was another thing that came to me in my little nap. Some people get thoughts in the shower, I get them in the little short naps. What if it's behind the switch? And it was. So an update on the patio situation. One interesting thing, since cleaning, the stains are not coming back. The drips are still there. They start, near sundown and they go till early morning. There is no mold or mildew reforming. I did find a little bit that was up actually on the units and I cleaned those off. I think it was just basically spreading from there, dropping down and growing. I think it just needed a good cleaning. I'm gonna hit this with some Simple Green. I do have a lot of concentrate in the garage and I'll see if that works. It's free, why not try it? There's not that much left. You can see that it got a lot better. Now it did, because it had been sitting here so long since before we bought the house, it did take off a little bit of the paint. It's not that big of a deal. It's over in this section, you don't see it. And I do have, I believe, some of this paint left in the garage. I need to double check, maybe for the garage floor. The colors are really similar, but I'm sure they had this done. They didn't do this slab pour themselves. And I'm pretty sure they paid to have it painted because it's done very nicely, all on the outside surfaces too. This drops down a couple feet to the lawn and it's all done nicely. Here's the thing. No matter what I choose to do, if I do something different, I can't get out of this for less than $700-800. Even the cheapest paint, if you get a mold and mildew resistant paint, which there are a few out there, they're designed for around pools and stuff like that, you're talking several gallons. This is about 3 garages worth of space, and all of them require at least 2 coats. For that kind of money, you're not much more going to some really nice decorative stone. Do like an actual pool installation and do decorative pavers. Going the garage route, epoxy, either DIY kit or having it done, again, you're about $1,000. It's just not worth it to me. I'm gonna see if I can just touch this up real quick. If not, I'm pretty sure I can find a little quart of paint. But even if I do nothing to this, I don't care. This is just my set space. No one's using it. Nobody gives a crap. I'm just gonna find either some type of pad material to put underneath these, or if I can find some cheap decorative pots or baskets. Someone had mentioned putting the big saucers underneath. I don't think that would look very good. It doesn't match at all. I'm still gonna paint them to stop the surface rust, but they leave marks and all this will wash right off. That's not a big deal. I'm just waiting to fix the problem before I do that. But spending $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $1,000 just to fix this mark, nah, not gonna happen. This is not a brand new house. This is a very usable living space. I don't care if ash drops on it. I don't care if people drop stuff or whatever. I don't care about dirt. I just hose it off. If I do this really nice and really expensive, I am gonna be worried about everything that happens to it. It's just not worth it to me. I like being able to just hose everything off. So that's the plan for now. I'm just gonna fix the minor inconveniences, keep it clean, and I think the actual solution is get rid of the source. And I think cleaning those out and getting rid of the mold and mildew that was growing in them is what did it. And it's not that there's water trapped inside or anything, it's the outside surface. You know, it's just a change in temperature, and it's so humid here that the whole thing just gets wet. It drips down both sides, but that side drips down, you know, onto the ground. So not a huge deal there. I thought about drilling the drain holes bigger because you can see this dirt that collects. That's just from a lot of this is because I just hosed it off and cleaned off the rest, but the water pools to about here. I opened up underneath the two screen doors a little bit, just trimmed back some of the weather strips so the water can seep out. But they did have some factory drain holes drilled in here. They're just either clogged, like there's one right there. They're either clogged or they're not big enough. So I'll run a bit through them and get those cleared out. That's what's supposed to alleviate all of this. So I think I can fix this problem very easily too. Other than that, super happy. I'm pissed because I missed a tool. I may have accidentally thrown it out, but you guys remember a couple weeks ago I bought a tool to press back in all the screen material, and I actually want to snip off some of this rubber and take it with me to get some more, because I know that some of this was repaired before we bought it, but obviously it's not holding. It's either the wrong size or it's just worn out. It looks like it's in there. It looks like somebody may have pressed it out. But anyway, there's a piece of rubber, like a rubber tube that fits in that groove, and that's what the tool presses in. You just put the screen behind it, and it keeps it in. But I lost my tool. I have no idea. I never used it. It was, I mean, I know where it was before I cleaned up for the housewarming party, and it just disappeared. I've gone through everywhere twice, every single drawer, cabinet, everything, and it's gone. Luckily it was only $5, but I never got to use it. So I've been wanting to fix those screens for the last week. There's a couple spots coming loose up top, a couple spots over there, so it's not that big of a deal, but I can't do it without that tool. So off to Lowe's, get a tool and get a fan switch. So this is the kind of stuff I had at the old house. I used a lot of black ones and more decorative black ones. Really nice looking stuff for 1 to 2 years. And then down here in direct Florida sun, they absolutely disintegrate. I mean, you can just pick it up with your hand and pull off a chunk. It just crumbles like eggshell. Plastic does not work in this kind of heat and sun. So I just had an idea, and I already have material at home to do it. All I need is something to go in between the metal and the concrete that's weatherproof and either looks good or you don't see. Not really finding anything here. They don't have the kind of pots I was looking for. Black felt. See, this is what I was thinking of. They call it a plant caddy. They're a little big though. I've already got a bunch of these, but I don't want them up above the ground. They're already a little too tall for what I need. If they had those in like 8-inch, that would be perfect, but I'm not paying $100. I think the felt will work, or something like this. This is much more inexpensive. That might be able to be adapted. So this is what I'm thinking. Just something to insulate, basically. That's an option. Might work better than the felt because it's thicker. I thought about burlap. They sell it by the roll too, but I think that would disintegrate pretty fast. This is only $5 for a big circle. It's a 22-inch diameter. I need basically some squares. 2 of those might do it. Actually, 1 of these will do it. I can get a square out of each quarter of this. It doesn't have to go to the edge of the pot, just cover at least most of it. That'll work. $5 sold. What next? All right, so my ABS and traction light came on as I was leaving for Lowe's. Sometimes it's a fluke thing, and a minute or so key out reset will reset it if it was just a fluke thing. Well, it didn't. It's been on ever since. I'm back home. So the first thing I'm gonna do is read the codes, clear the codes, see what it says. Usually this problem is a wheel sensor. It can be not too expensive, but not fun depending on where the sensor is. If it's just a wire in the wheel housing, not a big deal. If it's part of the wheel hub, complete pain in the ass, and I would probably take that in to be done for $100 or so, probably closer to 150. But there's also a chance it's my battery, because this is an original 7+ year battery. I coincidentally just got a load tester in for review on two-wheel obsession, so depending on what the codes say, I'll reset them and see if it comes back, and we'll test the battery. Yeah, look at that. I just noticed that this paint that I've got some extra of is probably the patio paint, because this is the porch, and this is not the original porch color. This has been recently painted. It looks like they did it themselves, because this is not a professional line. But it looks like they matched the front porch to the rear patio, which means I could probably touch that up too. Very cool. And I just thought of another thing it may be related to. I've had occasionally over the last, I don't know, year or so, my charging system light just flicker, like momentarily. It might be weeks or months between it doing it, or at least me noticing it. And when I was in for the steering damper to be replaced, they mentioned that my serpentine belt here showed some early signs of heat glazing. That's the brownish color you're seeing, so, which means it's old and it's starting to slip. And I was definitely planning on replacing it soon, which isn't a huge deal. So, you know, that could be playing into it if there's some weird electrical glitch going through the system momentarily. So no permanent, stored, or pending codes were found. Computer checks out okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and check the battery. If that checks out all right, I will have to just visually inspect each wheel sensor. I wish it would at least tell you which one is causing the problem. I may have to run it into the dealer if this part of the system requires their diagnostic computer. There's only so much I can do here in the garage, unfortunately. No lift. So let's see how the battery health checks out. English. Yeah, I should have done this review in this natural light. Unfortunately, I had it angled more like this towards my big studio lights, and it washed out the screen. You can see it's not a very high contrast screen. It's a little hard to see. So this is what it looked like in the review. Just aimed up, like that's blank sky. You can see it's just cloudy and overcast, but I just had it in the wrong spot. Anyway, we're in vehicle. We have not put it on a charger. It's a regular battery. Yes, I want cold cranking amps, and this one is rated for 550. Put in 550. Let it do its thing. I have a feeling the battery's going to be fine. The belt very well may be the problem. If I do take it in for them to check it out, I'll just have them do the belt at the same time. It's not that big of a deal. Doesn't save me all that much. Only takes a few seconds, it draws a specific amount of current. Oh, well, it very well may be the battery. SOH is state of health, meaning the actual physical cells are just about dead at 20%. State of charge is 98%. So, first step is a battery. We absolutely need that, regardless of taking it in or not. So that's going to be my first step, and that's more than likely what that flickering charging system warning light was over the last year. I'm surprised it lasted this long. The wife had to replace hers after 3 years, and hers is a year newer than mine. Mine's a 2012. Here we are almost in 2019. So hey, I'm happy I got that out of a regular old cheap battery. So off to the auto store and or Walmart, get a new battery. I don't know if I'll do that tonight, but this thing just would have paid for itself if I had bought it. It was sent in free for review, but there you go. That saved a trip to the dealer. There we go. That will work. No more rust marks. Alexa, turn on the office fan. Oh yeah. Now the house is completely wired. See you next time, guys.